So have you ever wondered why so many pianists seem so young?
It doesn't take long to know 7-year-old Avid Manis is special.
And he's 3 years old.
My mother once hoped I could be a piano prodigy and forced me to learn the instrument. Well, that was not my favorite experience from my childhood. I have to sit and focus hours and hours to repetitively practice the same music. I studied the piano until middle school, when my homework requires much more time and effort. I recently moved to LA with a roommate for my master's degree. The moment I entered the house, I saw the instrument I used to play. I wanted to see how much I still remembered from my childhood. And it turned out I pretty much forgot everything about piano. Okay, I'm gonna try it again. So that was fun. Some of my childhood memories came back to me after the practice, and my hand hurts after 4 hours of continuous playing the piano. Apparently, my frustrating experience with piano is not uncommon. According to The Economist, there are 50 million children currently studying the piano, and 40 million of which are from China. If you look through the biography of some famous pianists, you can see that almost all of them started in a really young age. Lang Lang, for example, started to practice piano at the age of 3, and in the age of 11, he already won the piano national competition. Mozart, who not only started playing the piano at the age of 3, but also composed his first piece of music in the age of 5. It seems pianists are almost like Jedis. They have to train starting from a ridiculously young age. So is there any real benefit for starting this early? After some digging, I find this one explanation called critical period hypothesis. To summarize, music learning, like language learning, has a critical period, a sensitive window ranging from about 3 to 10 years old. It is thought that within this time period, children have what is called neuron plasticity, which means their brain is still highly pliable. Through repetitive practice, their brain might be rewired. So basically, if you learn a language during the critical period, you would be as good as any native speaker. But if you missed the critical period window, it would be very difficult for you to learn a new language or a new instrument. There are studies that confirm the hypothesis. If children have the same amount of time to practice a certain instrument, the earlier they started, the more they show advantage in musical ability later in their career. Things like the ability to distinguish different rhythm or pitch. So this is the basis for some parents to push their children to practice in a young age, with the mentality they'll thank me later. But wait, it does not mean you cannot learn to play the piano after 10 years old. You can always learn to play the piano. In fact, adult learners are much faster in early stage of piano education. It's just if you reach the super top level of piano mastery, you might have some disadvantages than those who started early. But that's for like one genius out of millions of people. Last year, a Dutch research team re-examined the critical period hypothesis and came up with a different interpretation. They find that it's not that starting piano lessons early can improve music ability, but that children's natural talent made them more likely to be spotted and begin music training early. So why do young children seem more likely to succeed in learning an instrument? So one reason might be children simply have more time to practice than the adults who have all kinds of the responsibilities in their daily life. We already know that piano skills, just like sports, requires constant repetitive practice. Any new movement our body makes requires neural pathways inside our nervous system, and if that movement is new to us, the pathway would be weak and less efficient. After repetitive practice, the neural pathway would strengthen and the information would be passed more efficiently. As a result, we become more refined in completing the movement until it becomes our instincts. This is called long-term potentiation. Persistent and repetitive pattern of activity could produce a long-lasting increase in signal transmission between two neurons. Recent studies show that adults also have the plasticity to rewire neuron pathways through repetitive practice. Repetition is useful not only in music practice, but also in sports, driving a car, or even language learning. You might call this muscle memory, but it all happens within human nervous system. So I guess my point is, for most of us, critical period does not really matter. You can start whenever you want. As long as you put in the hours of practice, you can master this instrument. And for all those parents who force their unwilling child into playing the piano, my recommendation would be maybe wait until they can decide for themselves.